Hey guys, welcome to the last lesson in the nonlinear relationships. This is some exam questions, some past HSC and trial paper questions. Okay, so first questions first. Which of the following graphs best represents the equation y equals a to the power of x, where a is a positive number that is greater than 1? So straight away I would look at that formula and I'd say that is an exponential equation. Okay, because the exponent, the power, is the x value. So straight away, I should be able to cross out a and b because they are straight line graphs. So I've got either c or d. Now I should be able to really cross out c as well because an exponential equation cuts through 1 and goes really close to the x-axis but never quite touches it. Now, I automatically know from that d is my answer. However, if you weren't sure, what you could also do is substitute values in. Let's say, for example, we're going to choose y equals 2 to the power of x. So if I put x equals 0 into it, 2 to the power of 0 equals 1. If I put 1, x to the power of 1 is 2. 2 to the power of 2 is 4. 2 to the power of 3 is 8. Okay, and you can see it's starting to go steeper all the time. That's why D is going to be my answer. Okay, next question. The height of a particular termite mound is directly proportional to, so straight away I'm going to write down y equals k times x, to the square root of the number of termites. I'm going to chuck in a square root sign there as well. So I'm going to write down that now with some values. So the height I'm going to put is h equals k times the square root of, and the square root of the number of termites. So I'm going to let that equal n. Okay, now these are multiple choice questions, so I'm going to need to try and find a value of k. I'm going to put in the height of the mound is 35. K times the square root, number of termites is 2000. And so I'm now going to do the opposite of times root 2000 is divided by root 2000. So I get k equals, and I'm going to chuck it in my calculator. So I've got 35 divided by the square root of 2000. Now notice that's not a very nice answer. If I do that, I get something like 0.7826237921. Now I'm going to keep that value in my calculator for the last sort of calculation, but in case I don't, I've got my value there. So I'm going to rewrite that and put h equals 0.7826 times root n. Now it says what is the height of the mound? So height equals when there are 10,000 termites. So 0.7826 times the square root of 10,000. Now I've already got that value in my calculator, so I'm simply going to press times the square root of 10,000. I chuck it in and I get an answer of h equals 78.26 ... So 78 will be my rounded answer, which will be B. Okay, next question. If an electrical current varies inversely, okay, so y equals k over x, with resistance, what is the effect on the current when the resistance is doubled? I'm just going to put there electrical current, so current equals k over, and then the resistance R. Alright, now notice that there are no other values for C and R, so I'm not going to be able to find K at all. Okay, but it does say what is the effect on the current when the resistance is doubled. So let's just make something up. Let's say, for example, the formula is C equals 2 over R. Okay, let's just make that 2. Now, it says what is the effect on the current when the resistance is doubled. So let's chuck in some numbers. So for example, I'm going to put for the first one, I'm going to let R equal 1. Well, that means that C equals 2 over 1, C equals 2. Now I'm going to double the resistance. So I'm going to get 2. So C equals, double it. So 2 over 2, we get 1. And by the looks of things, it looks like it is going to be halved because 1 is half of 2. If you're not sure, let's double it again. Let's go to 4. C equals 2 over 4 equals a half. Look at that. Again, it's halved again. So you can see by doing that, that my answer is going to be C, the current will be halved. So again, see how I didn't really know what values that they were putting in, but once I just chucked a number in for my K, again, I could have put a half there, I could have put 10 there, it wouldn't really matter. And then I'm just trying some numbers in for R and seeing what is going to happen to C. Tough question. Okay, Sandra is on holiday in Mexico. She plans to buy some silver jewelry. Various silver pendants are on sale. The cost varies directly, y equals k times x, with the square of the pendant. So it's the square, not the square root, the square of the pendant. Okay, so let's put some values in for y and x. So the cost varies directly with the square of the length, so L squared. So I've come up now with my version. Now there's no A, B's, C's and D's, so I'm going to need to find K and going to need to find an equation. So it says how much does a pendant of length 40 millimeters cost? Well, it says a pendant with length of 30 that costs 130 pesos. So I'm going to put 130 equals K times 30 squared. Opposite of times 30 squared is divide by 30 squared. So K equals, going to get my trustworthy calculator out, type it in, 130 over, and then put in 30 squared. It's probably going to be a fraction. Now, it's not going to be a very nice decimal, so I'm going to leave that in fraction form, only because a decimal will have to be rounded, and that's easy to leave it like that. So I'm going to rewrite it. C equals 13 over 90 times L squared. That's my formula. Now, how much does a pendant of length 40 cost? Well, I'm just going to put my length of 40 in, and it's squared. So I'm simply going to do 13 over 90 times 40 squared. I'm going to get there. The cost equals 231.1111 repeater pesos. So it says to the nearest Mexican peso, 231 pesos. Beautiful. Nice, easy answer. Okay, second last question. The number of penguins after T years in a colony can be found using the formula P equals A times T, 2 to the power of T. All right, that's my formula. Now, that is an exponential equation, but I don't really need to know too much about equations or the type of an equation it's going to be. If there are 24 penguins after 2 years, find the value of A. Okay, so 24 equals A times 2 to the power of, and its T is time, so 2 to the power of 2. So I've just got an equation, 24 equals A times 4. The opposite of times 4 is divide by 4. A equals 6. Beautiful. Part 2. How many years will it take for the number of penguins to first exceed 1,500? Okay, well that means, now, what I'm going to do is rewrite the equation with the A value in it. So I'm going to put P equals 6 times 2 to the power of T, because we've just found the value of the A in the equation. So it says how many years will it take for the number of penguins to first exceed 1,500. So I'm going to put 1,500 equals 6 times 2 to the power of T. And I'm going to solve this to find T, which is much more challenging, I must admit, because you're trying to find a power here. First things first though, opposite of times 6 is divide by 6. So I'm going to get 2T equals, and I'm guessing this probably won't be a very nice number, but I'm going to chuck it in anyway, 1,500 divided by 6. I know it's a nice number, equals 250. Okay, now, because in general maths we don't use the logs, what we're going to need to do is probably do trial and error. Okay, so I'm going to chuck in numbers for 2 to the power of something. So for example, I might do 2 to the power of 10 just to see where that's going to get me. Okay, and 2 to the power of 10 is way over. So I get 1,024. So I'm going to do 2 to the power of, let's say 5. Way under, 2 to the power of 8. So if I write down to the power of 8, I'm getting close. 2 to the power of 8 equals 256. So I'm going to do 2 to the power of 7, and see what that gives me. 2 to the power of 7, and that gives me 128. So it's going to be pretty close to this one here. So it says, how many years will it take to first exceed 1500? Well, if I put in 7 years, that's not going to give me enough, is it? Because 2 to the power of 7 is 128, it's not 250. So if I put in 2 to the power of 8, I get 256. Therefore, it will take 8 years. And I can double check that. I can type in 6 times 2 to the power of 8 equals, and I get 1536, okay, which exceeds the $1,500. Therefore, so 1,500 penguins. Therefore, 8 years is my answer. That's a pretty challenging question, folks. That's going to be a bit more of a trial and error question that you're using there. Okay, last question. A bit of another written question here from one of the trial papers. I think it's the St. Catherine's of last year. A packing carton is to be constructed as shown in the diagram below. All dimensions are in centimeters. Show the surface area of the carton is 36 minus 2x squared. Okay, well, for surface area, we're going to be multiplying. I'm just going to make my brush size a bit smaller there. We're going to be multiplying side by side for the two squares. I've got 2 of them, so 2 times x times x. I've got 2 of those. Plus, I've got 2 of the sides. Now, that's x there. So I've got 2 lots of, and then I'm going to put x times 9 minus x. Okay, because I've got 2 lots of those sides there. And I've got 2 lots of the top parts. Now, that's going to be the same, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Oh, that's not going to work. I'm going to make that a 4. Because I've got 4 lots of those. That's a little bit easier because you can see, because it's a square one, those sides, and the back and the bottom are all going to be the same size as well. So that's my 6 sides. So if I look at that, I've got 2 lots of x squareds plus I've got 4 lots of, well, x times 9 is 9x, and x times x is x squared. Now I'm going to simplify that out again. 2x squared plus 4 9s are 36x minus 4x squared. 2x squared minus 4x squared is minus x squared, which gives me 36x, and then minus the 2x squared there. My surface area equals proved. Okay, pretty tough question. All right. Let's go make that pen just a little bit darker. Explain why the formula is only valid for the values from 0 to 9. Okay, well, if I'm looking at the side length, obviously you can't have length of 0 here. And then obviously 9 take away 9 is 0. So I'm going to put here length must be greater than 0. Therefore, x has to be greater than 0. And x has to be less than 9, because 9 take away 9 equals 0. So what I've basically said there, and again, you could probably use a lot of words for that, that this must be greater than 0, and this must be greater than 0. Therefore, if I put 9 like that, that equals 0, doesn't it? So therefore, it has to be, x has to be less than 9, and it's going to be greater than 0, which is what I'm saying here. It's going to be greater than 0, it's going to be less than 9. And then the last two here, the diagram shows the graph for this particular function. Okay, so it's a bit of a weird function. Find the value of x for which the carton has a maximum volume. Well, my volume is on the y-axis, isn't it? Therefore, because that's the volume of the cartons, so that's going to be my maximum volume there. Go down, look at that, it says it's going to be 6 cartons. Well, actually not 6 cartons, it's going to be 6, whatever the length's going to be. So yeah, 6 centimeters maybe. And then find the surface area of the carton which has a maximum volume. Well, we've just found the value of x for which this had the maximum volume. I've got the formula for the surface area. Surface area equals 36x minus 2x squared. So I'm just going to chuck in 6 for the x value, 36 times 6 minus 2 times 6 squared. And then I'm going to let my magical calculator do that for me. So 36 times 6. And I'm going to take away the 2 times 6 squared, chuck it all in, and I get 144 centimeters squared as my answer. So that's a pretty complex question, folks. I think that was towards the end of the paper, if I remember, for the St. Catherine's paper. But in saying that, it's actually not that hard either. It's just a little bit of algebra, but obviously this is algebraic modeling, and a bit of non-linear stuff included in that as well. Guys, hopefully you got through these. Remember, the most important questions, I guess, for your non-linear exam questions will be your direct and inverse variation. That's the number one thing that they'll certainly test. And the other thing is to know your graphs, okay? Because you'll most likely get those in multiple choice questions about which graph could be a parabola, a hyperbola, an exponential, etc. Have an awesome day, folks. Make sure you keep on revising. Let me know if you have any problems. Have a good day.